How you doing? Good evening. This is your Sensei Al Bob, and I am welcome you to our show, Dreamy Dreamland, with Sensei Al Bob, which you will find on our YouTube channel, Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. So, uh, I was today was just one of those days where I didn't do anything I planned to do, and that's okay. You kind of have to realize that it's okay. A lot of people get wound up in having to do something or, you know, whatever people tell you should be or you should do or any of the above, right? But no, as long as you are in balance, hey there, how you doing, research? As long as you're in balance with what your, you know, raison d'etre is, what your, you know, what you are, and you don't get bent out of shape, it's okay. You got tomorrow, You got your next life, It's all of the above, and everything is so not what you think it is. So if you have any preconceived notions or projections or any of that, good luck with that. Might as well always be able to laugh at yourself and, you know, say this is that, or, believe in your own advertisements. And I mean, that's kind of why I view this, yes, I go into state, I'm kind of do, my major thing of doing this was that, A, back a year ago, I noticed these trends coming together, and B, I was way out in the woods experiencing the 40-day, 40-night experience, and I noticed a window open. I kept seeing, time-space portals. It's when you're out in the middle of nowhere and there's nothing, meaning there's nothing, no cable, no satellite, no, nothing. I mean, creature comforts. But otherwise, I'm out in the middle of nowhere. And I lived as the sun went up and down. I mean, I had no TV, no nothing. I had to go to the library to use a computer. And that really put things into perspective. And, I'd died in a plate of spaghetti in 2014, lost my everything, had a nickel, well, I had more than a nickel. I had maybe, my social security check. But you could either get why or hey, whatever, let's have a good time. So, and that's kind of where I'm at, And so this channel is, to me, a performance art piece. Yes, I am your Sensei Al Bob. I am a shamanic, psychosocial, cultural forensic anthropologist, alchemist, but that isn't my job title. I don't have one. I've had so many jobs, so many careers, so many things in this life. It's okay. What I'm here to do every day and night is to take the piece of the earth and make it stronger. And one of the tools I'm using here is make you happy, make you amused, make you chuckle, make you enjoy a story. I don't like using the word entertainment because we take that linguistically, where its lineage came back is to basically occupy your mind in such a way that you're distracted to the point of not being you. That's what entertainment. That's what Hollywood. That's all of this entertainment. This is like Rome's, you know, bread and circus, and that's not what we're here to do. And it's not to offer our children blood up on the altar of war to the demigods, or the banking cartels or whoever, and all of this is happening right in front of our face, right? And we just happen to be in one of these moments when all of this stuff is coming together. I mean, this stuff happens every day of our recorded history, wars and catastrophes and guys winning the lottery and whatever. But right now, this is a very interesting time because this is one of these times when the human race actually has the opportunity to step up, and be what they can be, be what they are, be their conscious free will, right? And there are a lot of people. So an hour before I go on air, I kind of peruse all the stuff that I watch, all the stuff that's in my inbox and that's on my Gmail. And that leads me, they all have threads, and I go look at other stuff. So one of the things, there's this woman, Emily, oh, well, it starts with a W. And, she is some kind of, character who is connected to the hierarchy. See, who the Bible calls as God is just, really a demigod. He's like it's in like The Office, the general manager, right? And so, but, my shamanic take on this is like the only truth is love, co-creation. So everybody else who gets thrown in as a comic book character or a religious whatever is just part of the hierarchy, and it's people get fired and lose their job all the time. So it's not and I do not, again, I do not know anything. I don't believe anything. I only have faith in love's co-creation. In my experience of my travels, I've lived with many, many people, Christians, Hebrews, Muslim, Buddha, Vishnu, you name it. I've lived with people who worship all of this. And I have to say that I can't put anyone down for whatever religion they have, because the majority of the people who follow religion are just like anybody else who follows a religion, meaning it gives them a kind of path, a mechanism, a thing that they can, get some kind of semblance of reality to their life so they can go from day to day without being totally wacko, right? Of like, why is this happening? Oh, this is so terrible. Oh, So that's my feelings on religion and people's beliefs. I respect everyone's belief because the better part of that belief is love's co-creation. The not so good part of it is somebody's ego. So I don't judge or diss anybody's belief. It's, as long as you don't, and if you bring your belief to me and you want to talk about it, hey, I'm a theologist. I'm ready to talk about anything. And and I always look for the point of reference where I can agree with you, where I can find a commonality. That's what my process is about, is finding the commonality. That's why we have all our relations. That's why we're a cadre of adepts. That's why you're my chorus and I'm your griot sensei album, right? And the glue of that is love's co-creation. That's what the glue of that is. And so when I talk to anyone, whether they, rabid, Bible thumping, whatever, I'm respectful, and I try to find a point of reference of commonality, right? and whatever else, Muslim, Hebrew, you know. And now the real problem of most religions is that people use them as a business plan, right? So um, I'm not a big fan of that because I feel that love's co-creation created us not as merchants. What made Jesus Christ the dude he was? I mean, there were tons of folks out there in the hinterlands having the same experience. Having miracles, bringing people back to life, turning wine from water. There were a lot of guys out there. Everyone thought the Baptist was the dude. He was going to be the man. But when he met Jesus, he realized, whoa! Especially when Jesus got down on his knees and washed the Baptist's feet. And folks in that part of the land have a real issue with feet and shoes and all that kind of stuff. So that was a pretty heavy symbol. And then when Jesus threw the money changers out of the temple, now money changers was just the word that whoever wrote that down in the King James used. And really what Jesus was doing was that he threw the guys, see, because you had to make an offering to God in the temple, right? And the folks in there, they weren't money changers. They were bankers, you know, and they were, Babylonian bankers, meaning they were making their profit by interest. Yep, Jesus love personified exactly fits. He, he's he's the mortal who is manifesting love's co-creation. So the guy is, right? And that's why he was, like I said, there were a ton of charlatans out there, and he wasn't, because he was manifesting love's co-creation. Now, the real thing is yes. So they put him up on a cross, and he was like the life of Brian. Always look on the bright side. See his boys, weeping over in the corner, but you see Magdalene and Jesus, and they weren't hiding; they were right at his feet. So all these things are like right in our face, and Jesus has never left the building. Jesus is still here, Fitz, and has always been here, and that's why we're still here. I mean, if Jesus left the building, we would have been toast a few years later. But no. Jesus is always here, always here with a kind word. And how do you think you find your car keys? There's a great book called A Course in Miracles, and the major stay of that book are the same. Yep, ancient one. And like I said, and Jesus is the human, knock, knock, knock in this form. He's got an avatar, but he's like ascended. He's an ascended master who sticks around. Now there are ascended masters that show up: Buddha, Vishnu, Krishna. You individual experiencing the individual cell of love's co-creation. I mean, there is no separation. We're living in a world of illusion of separation, but there is no separation, right? The only separation is when we are egos, And so just before I hit, go live, I was watching about it, and all it is everyone's ego. Now, I was a thespian, I was an actor, and I was pretty good at it. The thing that I wasn't good at was the ego of the actor. I mean, I could get into the part and act the part, but I was, what they would call a method actor, in that I would get, like Daniel Day-Lewis, I'm not saying that I'm him, but I would be my character. period. I wouldn't like memorize my lines good enough, so the people I was acting with that wouldn't freak them out. But after you go into rehearsal, and that's part of the beauty of theater is that, so you have the play for, I don't know, a couple of weeks or a couple, however long it plays. But before it, you kind of, the hard thing is rehearsal, getting it all down, nailing it all down. And that takes weeks or months even. And when you work with a fellow actors and that you're all comfortable with who you are, your part and how you're doing it, you don't have to say every word, perfect, unless you're doing Shakespeare, then you could do that. And I did a little Shakespeare, and I played Puck. That was my favorite role I ever played in Shakespeare. And I played the rest of Shakespeare. I played little roles because they were so much fun. That's where you could really shine, and you could it wasn't hard. I didn't want to be Othello or or Hamlet. No, no. Yep, yep. Yeah, that's Fritz. That's kind of why I kind of keep talking about we should be that pebble in the pond, making the wave that creates the love of the tsunami of love. And but theater, and Shakespeare said it right. All the world's a stage, and we're just characters playing on it, right? And if you realize that, and realize the only true thing is love's co-creation, and that your day, why be upset with anything? Oh, it didn't go my way. Oh, I wanted to be. No, forget that. Just play the part of you know, the co-creator with love. That's the part we're here to, the dreamy dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. And you're my cadre of adepts because you're all learning your part, you know? You're all learning how to play on the stage and in consort with love's co-creation and not in the illusion of your ego. That's where we as a race, the human race, kind of loses its way is through our ego, right? Oh, why is this happening to me? Oh, why are they picking on me? No, no, sorry, not so much. We're here to play the character of the co-creator. Yep, that's the good mantra. Yep, and every day and every way, I'll take the peace of the earth and make it stronger with love's co-creation. That's my mantra. You know, and instead of like try to like say it, and meditate. No, all you got to do to meditate is breathe the 20% in and the 30% out. No, and every day and every way, I take the piece of the earth and make it stronger in love's co-creation. That's what I try to live. That's what I try to be the example of. That's what I'm here to do. Now, hey, I'm a schlemiel, 20%, 80% of the time I'm awake, you know. The other 20%, I'm asleep, 15% of it I'm just a plain up moron, but that's all right. Being a moron is a good thing because it gives you that place to laugh at yourself, right? And you look at the Marx Brothers. Everybody remembers Groucho because he had a like painted mustache and smoked a cigar. But the other three of the brothers, Harpo, that guy knew like 10 languages, was a physicist, mathematician, and he played the harp. And he said nothing. Yet he was the most greatest actor of the group because he said nothing. He portrayed everything with his actions and his face and his emotions, right? And then Flippo, the guy with little hat, he was the griot. he was the guy who kind of set up the storyline. And then, Groucho would just pull in the punchline. And the good looking one that you saw a few times in a few of those movies, he was the businessman. That's why those guys made money. And all the rest of that group of early 20th century comics and actors, unless they lasted a real long time, didn't make any cash. But the good looking one, he was a lawyer, he was an accountant, and he could schmooze, he could get a good deal. So, and that's why Lucille Ball was, Desilu made virtually everything on television and owned Paramount. And she, you know, married Desi because Desi loved her, and she was a sex goddess, right? And they had that sex thing, bing, really, really strong. But she was they were both visionaries, and she could see where, like me, where the trends are going, whereas Desi was a visionary on seeing the business side of it. So he got the best deal. He bought things low and sold them high. And he had this vision about, TV, they had one camera pointing straight at you. And, everybody was wearing this crazy makeup because the cameras weren't that. Well, when the technology got to the point where you didn't have to make, but those people were still making themselves up looking like crazy idiots and only one camera. What he did was, and when they had this process, it wasn't quite videotape, it was called kinescope, but it was still TV. And he had a three camera shot, and he did it in a theater with a live audience, right? And so the audience would come in. They'd have a guy, their announcer guy, kind of explain, okay, this is how we're going to do it. This is, this you've been watching I Love Lucy on TV. This is how, you're going to see how the sausage is made. And so we are going to, there's like 5 or 6 acts of this whole thing. And, within each act, we have 3 cameras, and they're all going down, you know, on a machine that's recording it, right? But within each of those scenes, we gonna have to stop and set it and do this and do that. And this is how movies are made. So they made the TV show like it was a movie, but they did it on video. And then they went back and edited it and put it together perfectly and then put it, and CBS loved it because they didn't have to pay for anything. And so Lucille Ball and Desi first started doing their show for CBS, and then once it became somewhat popular, they went from the way CBS did it to the way they wanted to do it. And then they said, listen, what we're going to do is we're going to sell you the show, you know? Yeah, John. Yeah, you can come in.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah. I'm happy.
Oh, John's happy. Stay in or stay out, but close the door.
Wow, you really like it warm.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little chilly. And anyway, in this little room,
I'm happy.
well, that's that a boy.
I could probably get in amazing shape again.
Well, then
I think I
go.
can finally move forward in life and achieve things.
Oh, good. That's
Yeah. The idea of being with her again
uh-huh.
and saving the whole happy family ever and stuff. I was making that first, but she the whole time was telling me she didn't want to be with me at all. And I'd call her 30 times.
Uh-huh.
She'd answer and go, "What do you want? I'm making an effing video." And hang up the phone on me or something like. She wouldn't necessarily say that, but like she hasn't had feelings of love for me that she's told me about in 10 years.
At least.
So why would I keep torturing myself, literally depressed
So
every day? Every day
why
for
did you
the
do
past 2 months.
why did you do that?
Why did I do that?
Yeah.
Because I
What
thought I had to be in the happy family, married to one person,
was
and then
that
save the whole family.
was that your idea, or was
I
that an
thought
idea that
around
was,
me that they'd be these horrible
or
people,
was
and
that
it
just
wasn't
projected
true.
on you?
It wasn't. What's that?
Was that idea projected on you?
Yeah, I was raised to think, you're supposed to be married one time, no matter what, you have to stay with that person. And her family gets a divorce, so we end up getting a divorce. And
Don't let the cats in.
you sure? No, they don't pee.
No, don't let them in.
Please.
No, 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 no. If you want to be with the cats, you go outside. I'm allergic to them. If that dander and that dust gets in here, I'll get pneumonia and die.
I just ordered the paint.
Oh, great, 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 great. But don't let the cats in because it physically will make me sick.
Oh man.
And that's one reason, I just stay in this room.
So we can paint this wall quickly.
We can paint the whole room. We can paint the whole room. Yep.
Primer to
Yep.
paint the walls.
Yep.
I'm not into like words like kills. It sounds like you're killing somebody. You're like horror.
Well, that's a paint.
Like I'm not into that horror stuff as much. I understand why people do it because they think it's like they don't take it literally. They don't take it literally. It gives them like a shot, like like when you're riding a roller coaster. It's like a thrill.
Yeah.
I'm not into it as much. And that's why that stuff. I hope you're still filming your video.
No, I'm gonna say goodnight.